This is ATN Global News. First, the headlines. CP warns against misinformation. EFCC arrests Accountant General. Tinubu swears in new ministers Monday. NDLEA uncovers 4.4 billion naira drug deal. Lightning kills 13 children. Libya begins mass arrest of Nigerians. EFC releases Bobrisky on bail. And now the news in details. Rivers State Police Command has unequivocally refuted the unsubstantiated report currently circulating alleging a violent altercation at the Rivers State government's house involving supposed military forces allegedly loyal to former Governor Yeso Wike and current Governor Sim Fubara. The police said there was no such incident and the narrative is a deliberate fabrication aimed at inciting fear, confusion and unrest within Rivers State, arguing that Governor Fubara has neither ordered a curfew nor called for any form of takeover of security operations within the state by militant groups. While the Nigerian Police Force and other security and law enforcement agencies remain in full control and actively maintaining peace and security in Rivers State. The statement signed by the police PRO Grace Iringekoko said the false narrative serves no purpose other than to disturb the peace and tranquility in the state, and therefore urged the public to disregard the false rumors and refrain from spreading unfounded and destructive reports, while calling on all and sundry to verify information from credible sources and avoid sharing sensational and baseless claims targeted at cursing discord. The Commissioner of Police in charge of Rivers State hereby reiterates that the command remains committed to ensuring the safety and security of all residents of the state and equally exhorts residents of Rivers State to go about their lawful activities without fear as police officers and officers of other security agencies are on ground, vigilantly ensuring that peace and security are preserved at all times. Fire has raced down a section of the Sapele main market in Sapele local government area of Delta State. The incident occurred on Sunday and the cause of the fire is still sketchy. Eyewitness said officials of the Delta State Fire Service and others helped to stop the fire from spreading and causing more damages at the market and the traders. Political stakeholders in Edo State, under the aegis of the Initiative for Democratic Advancement and Free Speech, has applauded the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for detaining the state's Accountant General Julius Anelu and two other government officials over corruption allegations. They urged the commission to go after those lately accused of stealing public assets, insisting that Governor Godwin Obaseki must account for $1 trillion realized through federal allocations, generated revenues, loans, among others, in the last 8 years. The development comes barely 1 week before the official handover and inauguration of the administration of the governor-elect Senator Monday Okpeleho. According to an impeccable source in the EFCC, out of 24.6 billion naira paid into the government's account, about 14 billion was left within 1 week after money was deposited some weeks back. While the State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Naekaye, said the arrest was targeted at crippling governance in the state. Reacting in a statement jointly issued in Abuja, the leaders of the group, Patrick Osabovo and Andrew Sewele, hailed the Anti-Graft Commission for rising to the occasion and also urged the EFCC not to wait until Obaseki leaves office before recovering the funds and assets allegedly stolen by some of his appointees. Ongoing is Edo State Governor Outgoing Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki says he would not want to be remembered for the many battles he fought after leaving office but for his numerous achievements in repositioning the state. The governor made the remarks while answering questions from newsmen after the commissioning of the airport road parks and garden in Benin City, and recalled the past years in office when he fought several political battles with his political benefactors and opponents, adding that the people-oriented programs and policies put in place by his administration made the electorate to re-elect him in the 2020 governorship election. He said the same programs and policies made the people to vote for the People's Democratic Party candidates Asue Igadalo in the September 21st, 2024 governorship election. Speaking on the commissioned airport road parks and garden project, he disclosed that plans have been made to ensure the sustainability of the garden, which is expected to attract residents on a daily basis. Ruling Labour Party in Abia State suffered a major setback as the Zenith Labour Party claims victory in 15 out of 70 local government areas in the November 2nd council polls. The Young Progressive Party won the remaining 2 local government areas, Ogwanugo and Osisioma Ngwa. The chairman of the Abia State Independent Electoral Commission, Professor Chima George, announced the result on Saturday night at Abia Sec headquarters in Umuahia, adding that although the election was generally peaceful, it was marked by voter apathy. 70-year-old man, Mr. Stephen Irobunda, has escaped being lynched in Ohokobe, Ndume, Umuahia North Local Government area of Abia State for allegedly killing a young man, Mr. Bright Odizuru. The victim, Odizuru, was shot dead by the suspect during an altercation between the aged man and some youth in the community. Community said the victim, together with other youths, were playing football near Irobunda's house during the local government election, which infuriated the suspect, and the man fired in the air to scare away the youths. The youth in response went back to Irobunda's house to know why he was trying to intimidate them with gunshots. And at that point, the man drew his gun again and shot one of the youths, Bright Odizuru, in his abdomen, leading to his death in a hospital. The death of the young man infuriated the Hokobe Mbocha youth, who pounced on the suspect and attempted to lynch him before he was rescued by security agents. And when contacted, the spokesperson of Abia State Police Command, ASP Maureen Chinaka, confirmed the killing. Police officer attached to the Otuocha Area Command in Anambra East Local Government area has shot and killed an unidentified male commercial bus driver. Eyewitness said the officer shot the deceased during an altercation over the payment of 100 naira bribe to the security operatives at a checkpoint in the area. Reacting to inquiries, the spokesperson for the State Police Command, Tochukwu Ikenga, said the command is aware of the incident and that the situation is under control, adding that the police officer involved has been identified as Inspector Sani Suleiman and has been disarmed and detained for further investigations and internal disciplinary procedures. The scourge of bribery and extortion among police officers in Nigeria is a long-lasting issue that has led to deep-seated mistrust between the public and law enforcement. And despite efforts to curb this menace, recent incidents continue to highlight the state of corruption within the Nigerian police force. Management of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Oka, has rejected the annulment of the appointments of the new Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Bernard Odo, and its registrar R.I. Wokiki. This is coming after the Federal Ministry of Education had on Friday written the chairman of the Governing Council of the University, Ambassador Greg Mbadiwe, concerning counseling the council's recent appointments, insisting they did not follow existing guidelines. The letter, which was signed on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Mrs. R. Ilasu, had urged the council to shelve all appointments until the new Minister of Education assumes office. The Academic Staff Union of Universities had also protested the credentials of the new Vice-Chancellor, contending that he was not qualified, disputing the claims that he had acceded to the position of a professor. People's Democratic Party in Ebonyi State has elected Mr. Peter Wele as the new chairman. Wele said he would start bringing those that left the party back to form a formidable force to take over the state in 2027. Added that Ebonyi has been a PDP state and that the party will bounce back in 2027. Wele who disclosed this during the State Progress Congress in Abakaliki said the Congress was supervised by a seven-man committee from the National Secretariat of the party and the Independent National Electoral Commission, as well as security agencies. Obonna, chairman of the Congress committee, described the exercise as peaceful and transparent and commended members of the party for conducting themselves orderly, while the national vice chairman, southeast of the party, Chief Ali Odefa, said the enthusiasm and love for PDP in the state and the country in general was still very strong. He opined that the party was putting things together to wrestle power from APC in 2027 and dismiss any crisis in the party, and implored the new executives of the party in the state to embark on total reconciliation. Lagos State Emergency Management Agency has confirmed the death of an adult male in a multiple accident at the Lagos-Badagry Expressway. The Permanent Secretary of LASIMA, Olufemi Oke Osaniyotulu, who confirmed the development in a statement, said several other persons were injured in the accident. Oke Osaniyotulu said the accident happened at Ile Epo bus stop, Okoafa Lagos Badagry Expressway. According to him, while an adult male died in the accident, several others injured persons were rushed to nearby hospitals by officials of the Federal Road Safety Corps. He also said FRSC officials had deposited the corpse in the morgue before arrival of the agency's response team. Minister of Works, Engineer David Umahi, says most Nigerians driving on the major bridges in Lagos, such as Third Mainland, Kita, and Marina bridges, are not aware of the danger beneath the structures due to carbonization and chlorinization of the caps. This was exposed by the minister when he took a tour of under bridges in Lagos with members of the National Assembly Committees and Works, arguing that chlorinization is the ability of the pipe cap to absorb the chloride water that is attacking the rod inside. The minister said some of the piles have detached from the pile caps, while some of the piles are no longer inside in the sand, pointing out that the problem is aggravated due to illegal mining of sand over the years, among other issues. Speaking during the tour, Umahi said the essence is to let the National Assembly see the dangers beneath the bridges. While thanking President Ahmed Bola Tinubu for granting them the intervention fund to carry out the repairs on the bridges, he said the president has come to correct the ills of the country and pleaded with the National Assembly to assist the ministry in terms of budgeting. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has declared that the 2027 election will be a decisive moment for the Nigerian populace and a period of choice between the ruling All Progressives Congress and the citizens themselves. He disclosed this during the commissioning of the newly built ultra-modern People's Democratic Party Southwest Zonal Secretariat in Ibadan, Oyo State, which was named in honor of the late Soji Adegunodo, a former Southwest chairman of the PDP, and criticized the APC's governance, asserting that the party has failed to deliver on its promises. He said the forthcoming election will not merely be a contest between APC and the PDP, but rather a referendum on the APC's governance, with the Nigerian populace at the center of the decision-making process. In addressing the internal conflict within the PDP, Makinde called on the party's leadership to take decisive action, adding that the enemies of the party are within, not the opposition parties, and urged members to work together to heal the rift. He insisted that the party must maintain its unity in the Southwest. All Progressives Congress of the North Central Forum has lauded the national leadership of the party for carrying its members along in the recently constituted National Campaign Council for the Ondo State governorship election. Chairman of the APC North Central Forum, Alhaji Saleh Zazaga, in a statement to newsmen in Abuja, commended APC National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje for carrying the forum and other sections of the party along. This is coming after Ganduje had on October 28, 2024, inaugurated a 305-member National Campaign Council for the Ondo State governorship election, and the council is headed by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, while Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State heads the Finance Committee, with Senate President Senator Godswill Akpabio as his deputy. The Media and Publicity Committee is chaired by Yobe State Governor Mai Malabuni, with Minister of Information Idris Mohammed as deputy chairman, while Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum, and Gombe State Governor Inuwa Yahaya are the chairman and deputy chairman of the Security Committee, respectively. Reacting to the development, Zazaga said the APC national leadership has shown a commitment to integrate and unite all sections of the party, and also reassure the APC national chairman of the commitment and support of the North Central to his leadership. Ekiti State Amotokan Corps has confirmed the arrest of a 32-year-old man, Oluwatoyin Sunday, who has been accused of raping 25-year-old Abimbola Akindele. Officer Adeleye Abiodu Adewale, the head of the communications department at the Amotokan Corps headquarters in Ekiti State, who disclosed this, said the arrest was carried out by Amotokan operatives in the F4 local government command after the suspect was identified. According to Officer Adeleye, during the interrogation by the Amotokan officers, the victim recounted her ordeal and described how she was washing clothes outside her rented apartment when the suspect approached her, lured her into his room, and forcefully raped her. Abimbola Akindele also revealed that Oluwatoyin Sunday had made several prior attempts to woo her at the same residence, but she had rejected his advances. The suspect, Oluwatoyin Sunday, had denied any involvement in the alleged crime and has since been handed over to the police in the Fort Alaye for further investigations. Operatives of the Kano State Fire Service has retrieved the body of an unidentified lifeless man from a well in Kano. Confirming the tragic incident, the spokesperson for the fire service, Saminu Abdullahi, explained that the central control room of the department received a call for emergency assistance from the DPO of the Kwale Police Division that the control room reported a lifeless body had been sighted in a well at an uncompleted building located at Kadama, Brekin, Titi in Kumbutso local government area, Kano. The spokesman said the police team arrived at the scene of the incident at approximately 16:14 hours and noticed some dried blood stains around the well, stressing that when the rescue team peered into the well, they discovered the decomposing body of a man, about 25-year-old, whose identity remained unknown and who was unfamiliar to residents in the area. Abdullahi also said the body was swollen, indicating that he must have been in the well for the last 4 days or thereabouts, and the rescue team subsequently removed the lifeless body from the well and handed it over to ASP Sani Abdul Hamid, DCO2 of Komboso Police Division. Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has arraigned the serving provost of the Federal College of Education Technical in Zamfara State, Hawau Abdul Karim, alongside the lecturer with the Sokoto State College of Education, Abdullahi Boye, over alleged certificates forgery. ICPC accused the two defendants of forging an appointment letter and subsequent use of the same for application for the position of the provost at the college, and were also accused of making false statements to ICPC officials in the course of the investigation, which is an offense under Section 25, subsection 1A, and punishable under Section 25, II, subsection B of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. A statement released on Sunday by the Commission spokesperson Damola Bakare said the defendants pleaded not guilty to the 6 charges preferred against them. The launch child independence when You're watching the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break. Welcome back. This is Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of the stories. President Bola Tinubu will on Monday swear in 7 new ministers. The swearing-in will take place at the Council Chamber of the State House, Abuja. Disclosing this via X, Tinubu's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said the ministers are Dr. Nentawe Yelawata, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Muhammadu Digiade, Minister of Labour and Employment, Bianca Odumegu Ojuku, Minister of State Foreign Affairs. Others are Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Trade, Ndi Maiha, Minister of Livestock Development, Yusuf Atta, Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, and Dr. Suwaiba Ahmad, Minister of State Education. This is coming after the Senate cleared the ministers last week, while Tinubu had reassigned 10 ministers to new ministerial portfolios and discharged 5 others and nominated 7 new ministers. And on October 31st, 2024, the Senate confirmed all 7 nominees after screening each of the nominees. House of Representatives Committee on Renewable Energy has invited stakeholders to an investigative hearing on the $2 billion in renewable energy grants and investment in Nigeria. According to the committee, the investment has not had a proportional impact on the nation's energy security challenges, adding that in July 2024, President Bola Tinubu disclosed at the African Natural Resource and Energy Investment Summit in Nigeria that the nation had attracted over $2 billion of investment in the sector in the past decade. A statement issued on Sunday by the committee chairman Victor Ogene in Abuja said the probe will cover the period from 2015 to 2024, and despite the government attracting over $2 billion in renewable energy investments in the past decade, as reported by the Rural Electrification Agency in 2023, there has been no noticeable improvement in the sector. He also said if the dysfunctional electricity generation and supply system persists, contrary to the objectives behind government investments and grants aimed at developing the renewable energy sector, the House will probe the investment to determine the integrity of the procurement and execution processes, adding that the probe is not a witch hunt, but an exercise to discourage shady dealings and promote transparency and objectivity in managing government or public resources. Leading the debate, the lawmaker said the parliament was aware that poor electricity generation, transmission, and distribution pose a significant threat to the nation's industrial and technological development goals, adding that successive governments since 2015 have made substantial investments and attracted multi-million-dollar foreign grants for Nigeria's renewable energy subsector to create a viable and sustainable alternative energy supply. Socio-economic rights and accountability projects has urged President Bola Tinubu to direct the Attorney General or the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, to ensure the release of all End Bad Governance protesters, including the 32 hungry and malnourished children. Serap said the children and some other protesters were detained solely for the peaceful exercise of their human rights. A statement signed by Serap's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, said the detention of the protesters may discourage other citizens from exercising their rights, adding that if the President does not act on his recommendations within 48 hours, illegal actions will be taken against him. This is coming after the letter, which was copied to the chair reporter of the United Nations Working Group of Arbitrary Detention, Dr. Matthew Gillett, urged Tinubu to direct Mr. Fagbemi and appropriate law enforcement agencies to properly investigate the circumstances surrounding the grave violation of the human rights of the children and other protesters in detention, to identify and bring to justice those responsible and to ensure justice and remedies for the victims. The organization said bringing charges against children and detaining them simply for the peaceful exercise of their human rights is clearly not acting in the best interest of the child, adding that the detention violates their right to education, apparent ill treatment of the protesters, including the 32 hungry and malnourished children. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Fagbemi Lateef San, has commenced moves to drop the charges brought against the 32 minors arraigned before Justice Obiora Igwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Hours after the arraignment, the AGF disclosed in a statement while taking over the matter from the Inspector General of Police, adding that there were issues his office would like to review to enable him make an informed decision and to immediately initiate steps to request an early adjournment date. Also, the Defense Counsel for all 119 defendants, Marshal Abubakar, said the AGF had requested transfer of the case file and the minors among the 119 remanded protesters were in the custody of the SARS IRT, adding that they were kept in a large hall as the purported bus-style system for juvenile detention was non-existent. Meanwhile, human rights activist and lawyer Deji Adeyanju has raised the alarm over the whereabouts of 2 children arrested by the police, and the minors are supposed to be arraigned alongside the 76 accused persons brought to court on Friday. He also said the 2 children were on the list of those earlier taken to court by the police to obtain a remand warrant a few months ago and called on the Attorney General to use his good office to discontinue the case. Organizers of the End Bad Governance in Nigeria protests have vowed not to back down from protesting worsening conditioning in the country. The vow, despite treason charges leveled against several protesters arrested, to sustain momentum in protests until the ruling class in Nigeria prioritizes the interests of Nigerians. This is coming after the federal government last Friday arraigned not fewer than 76 protesters who were arrested during the last End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest in the country. The protesters, who had among them minors who were visibly looking malnourished in the video which circulated, were arraigned by the Inspector General of Police Olukoyode Ebotukun before Justice Obiara Igwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja on 10 counts, including treason, incitement to mutiny by urging the military to remove President Bola Tinubu, and other related charges. All 76 defendants pleaded not guilty. Reacting to the development, organizers of the End Bad Governance in Nigeria protest decried the trial of the minors as an unprecedented misfeat on the part of the government, while pledging to sustain the protest until the conditions of the poor were prioritized in the country. Arewa Consultative Forum has strongly condemned the ongoing treason trial of protesters from the August 2024 End Bad Governance protest, labeling it as a sham trial and a show of shame. According to the ACF, the trial is a blatant attempt to intimidate and silence citizens from exercising their constitutional right to protest and express grievances, adding that the forum views the protest as victims of Nigeria's criminal justice system and a mindless bureaucracy. Consequently, the ACF has called on the federal government to immediately halt the detention trial, release the protesters and return them to their families on hand, and also demand an investigation into the circumstances leading to the prolonged detention of the protesters who have been held for over 3 months, well beyond the constitutional 24-hour limit. The forum also demanded that the federal government provide financial compensation to the protesters for their unnecessary and unjustified detention, as well as medical examination, treatment, and professional psychological evaluation and counseling. In a statement released on Sunday by ACF National Publicity Secretary Sako Mohammed Baba in Kaduna, the forum stressed on the treatment of the protesters, which constitutes a callous abuse of power by a government that should be focused on improving citizens' standards of living. Civil society group Women Aid Collective Nigeria has urged the federal government to redirect offending minors from formal judicial processing and to separate children from adults in detention facilities, adding that detention and trial of minors should be a last resort, adding that where necessary, juvenile court or juvenile court should handle the proceedings. This is coming. The Inspector General of Police Kayode Ebotukun had on Friday arraigned 76 End Bad Governance protesters before Justice Obiara Igwatu of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Among them were minors, and the viral videos of the malnourished children sparked outrage over the weekend, with some civil society groups calling for their immediate and unconditional release from detention. In a statement on Sunday, the Executive Director of WACOL, Professor Joy Eziolo, said recent events involving the arraignment of minors undermine the country's justice system and represented a clear violation of state, national, regional, and international children's rights laws. Eziolo called for an end to the ugly phenomenon of starving children charged with mutiny and treason, stating that you shame Nigeria as a nation and that the prosecutor should always do the right thing in the court of law. Joint Action Committee of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Universities and a led institution said the federal government only released 1 out of the 4 months withheld salaries and had decided that the strike be continued. The Office of the Accountant General of the Federation said that it had released the withheld salaries for which the university workers embarked on strike, while the unions said JAC began an indefinite strike on Monday due to 4 months of unpaid salaries, leading to a shutdown of university activities nationwide. SSANU National President Mohammed Ibrahim said top universities officials, including vice chancellors, bosses, and registrars, also hadn't been paid and had further impacted on the university's operations. He also said 98% of members complied with the strike and they would not return to work until the demands are met. While the chairman of the SSANU and Jack Mohammed Ibrahim confirmed that members had started receiving salaries and only 1 out of the 4 months without salaries has been released. Federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to universal health coverage by prioritizing primary health care and collaborative efforts with stakeholders. The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Pate, made the pledge at the Legislative Dialogue on Improving Maternal Health in Nigeria in Abuja. A statement signed by the head of the Public Relations Unit at the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Remi Adeleke, on Sunday, said representatives from the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, the National Assembly and partners convened to discuss strategies for advancing healthcare services. Pate, who was represented by the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Primary Health Care Development Agency, Dr. Muyi Aina, declared a reduction of children and maternity mortality is the topmost area of focus in the Renewable Hope agenda of the President's administration. He also said despite the significant increase in resources allocated to the health sector, the need to invest more in the health sector cannot be overemphasized, and highlighted the progress made in revitalizing primary health care while citing increased funding and sector-wide approaches. Indigenous people of Biafra has advised the federal government to put an end to the activities of Eastern Security Network in Miyetti Allah is banned and open grazing abolished. A statement by the spokesperson of the group, Imma Powerful, said Eastern Security Network would continue to defend the Southeast if Miyetti Allah is not banned, adding that Nigerians should be grateful to his leader, Nnamdi Kanu, for preventing the activities of killer headers from Sahel. The statement also said every well-meaning Easterners should be grateful to Nnamdi Kanu and ESN for blunting and putting a permanent stop to the relentless advance of killer herdsmen from the Sahel who are hell-bent on conquering indigenous populations all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. Operatives of the Nigerian police force has arrested no fewer than 130 suspects for high-level cyber crimes, and among the suspects are 113 foreign nationals comprising 87 males and 26 females from China and Malaysia. A statement on Sunday by the force spokesperson Muyiwa Adejobi said 17 of the suspects were Nigerian, and the suspects were arrested at a building at the next cash and carry area in the Jahi area of the Federal Capital Territory. Adejobi said the suspects were reportedly using computers and other sophisticated devices to facilitate criminal activities, and the police were analyzing the exhibit recovered from the suspects. Business news. Operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have recovered drug consignment worth 4.4 billion naira hidden in the lavatories of an Ethiopian airline aircraft. The drugs, according to a statement on Sunday by the NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi, were discovered during the post-landing cleaning of the flight ET900 from Addis Ababa to Lagos, and the drugs were wrapped in 9 polythene bags and concealed in the waste collectors in the 2 rear lavatories of the aircraft, stressing that at least 30 suspects are being questioned in connection with the drugs. He also said the seized drugs were transported from Brazil to Ethiopia by ingestion and excreted in Addis Ababa by a group of couriers, while other traffickers attempted to smuggle them into Nigeria through Lagos Airport before their plan was thwarted with the cooperation of the airline's authorities and other airport stakeholders. Meanwhile, Babafemi said drugs concealed in body cream containers and artworks were also uncovered by the agency's operatives. At the Apapa Seaport in Lagos, Babafemi said NDLEA operatives intercepted 754,000 pills of tapentadol and acetaminophen, 225 milligram worth 525 million naira in a targeted and watch-listed container from India during the joint examination with customs service officers and other security agencies, amongst others. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has described President Bola Tinubu's floating exchange rate system as an overkill, adding that he would have done differently if he were the president of Nigeria. Atiku said the explanation became necessary because Nigerians were asking him to explain what he would have done differently if he were the president. And in a post on his X handle on Sunday, the former People's Democratic Party presidential candidate in the last general election suggested that a managed floating system would have been a preferred option. Atiku said he is committed to reform the operation of the foreign exchange market, stressing that specifically there was a commitment to eliminate multiple exchange rate windows. He also said the fixed exchange rate system was out of the question because it would not be in line with the philosophy of running an open private sector friendly economy, while on the other hand, in view of Nigeria's underlying economic conditions, adopting a floating exchange rate system would have been an overkill. Federal government, through its National Bureau of Statistics, says in 2023, Nigerians paid 40.14 billion naira in road taxes to state governments. The analysis of data from the internally generated revenue report said the figure collected was a 63.36% increase from the 24.57 billion naira collected in 2022, and the growth affirmed the crucial role of road taxes in state-level finances across the country. Lagos State, widely regarded as Nigeria's economic powerhouse, led all states with a record of 16.74 billion naira in road tax revenues for 2023, and despite having no record of road tax revenue in 2022, the state accounted for 41.7% of the total road tax revenue in 2023. Ebonyi State showed an exceptional increase of 3,804.32% from 72.95 million in 2022 to 2.85 billion in 2023, and the Federal Capital Territory recorded no road tax revenue in 2023. The MBS also highlighted an overall increase in internally generated revenue across Nigerian states, the total IGR reaching 2.43 trillion naira in 2023, or by 26% from 1.93 trillion naira in 2022. Federal government says the much-anticipated $5 billion African Energy Bank is set to commence operations on January 28, 2025, marking a significant milestone in the effort to enhance energy access and development across Africa. A Nigerian delegation led by the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources and Executive Board member representing Nigeria at the African Petroleum Producers Organization, Ambassador Nicholas Ella, disclosed these at the 19th Executive Board meeting of the organization in Yaoundé, Cameroon. The meeting had representatives from 13 member countries and a statement issued by the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. The Permanent Secretary reiterated Nigeria's commitment to the deals of African Petroleum Producers Organization and the immediate setting up of the Energy Bank in Abuja. This is coming after Nigeria won the hosting rights for the establishment of the African Energy Bank headquarters in July 2024 after it competed with Ghana, Algeria, South Africa, and the Benin Republic, and aims to bridge financing gaps in the continent's oil and gas industry. International tidbits. Lightning strike at a refugee camp in Uganda has killed 13 children and 1 adult. Police said the victims were attending a church service on Saturday evening when the lightning struck, while 34 people were injured. The incident occurred at Palabek refugee settlement in the northwest of the country, and the area has recently seen heavy rains with thunder and lightning. Kituma Rasoke, spokesperson for Uganda police, said the adult killed on Sunday was 21 years old. Mr. Rasoke did not reveal the exact ages of the children who died. Palabek refugee settlement is home to more than 80,000 refugees and asylum seekers. Polio vaccination campaign in North Gaza is expected to resume on Sunday, a day after the World Health Organization said 6 people, including 4 children, were injured following the strike on the Sheikh Radwan clinic. The agency did not say who was responsible for the attack, but an official from Gaza Civil Defense Agency, and it was carried out by an Israeli quadcopter. Israel said it is investigating but does not believe it was responsible, while the UN's Children Agency, which is helping to lead the vaccination rollout, described the strike on the Sheikh Radwan Clinic as another example of the indiscriminate strikes on civilians. The second phase of the vaccine rollout began on Saturday after being postponed in October due to intense Israeli bombardment, mass displacement, and lack of access in the region. The immunizations are resuming as 15 UN and humanitarian organizations have described the situation in North Gaza as apocalyptic, nearly a month after an Israeli ground offensive began. South Korea, Japan, and the United States conducted a joint air drill involving a heavy bomber on Sunday, South Korea's military said, in response to North Korea's latest long-range missile test. The exercise took place 3 days after Pyongyang launched one of its most powerful and advanced solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missiles, which experts say could reach targets in mainland U.S. South Korea's military said the drill mobilized the U.S. B-1B bombers, South Korea's F-15K and KF-16 fighter jets, and Japan's F-2 jets, adding that during the aerial maneuver, South Korea and Japanese jets escorted the U.S. strategic bomber to a designated location south of the Korean peninsula, demonstrating an overwhelming capability to swiftly and accurately strike simulated targets. The North's latest ICBM launch have flown higher and farther than any previous missile, according to North Korea as well as South Korea and Japan's militaries, which tracked it in real time. The launch came amid growing international scrutiny over Pyongyang's purported deployment of thousands of troops to Russia to support Moscow's war efforts in Ukraine, raising concerns that North Korean soldiers in Russian uniforms could soon engage in combat. Here now is ATN Sports News. Following the verdict delivered by the Confederation of African Football in response to the complaints lodged by the Nigerian Football Federation over the recent inhuman treatment meted out to the Super Eagles in Libya, members of the Nigerian community have reported mass arrests and fines in the country. The Nigerian football team was held at the Al Abraq airport in eastern Libya for over 20 hours upon arrival for the second leg of the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifier between the Super Eagles and Libya's national team, while the contingent was scheduled to land at the Benghazi airport and travel for nearly 4 hours by road to Benina, where the match was to be played. However, less than an hour before landing, the Tunisian pilot reportedly received a directive from Libyan authorities to divert the plane to the Al Abraq airport, located 150 miles away from the destination, and the development sparked widespread outrage, forcing the NFF to withdraw the Super Eagles from the qualifying match and file an official complaint to CAF. In its ruling on Saturday, October 26, signed by its chairman, Osmani Kane, the disciplinary committee of the African football body awarded the Super Eagles 3 points and 3 goals for the abandoned match, while the disciplinary board ruled that the Libyan Football Federation breached Article 31 of the African Cup of Nations regulations and Articles 82 and 151 of the CAF disciplinary code. The development sparked widespread outrage from the NFF to withdraw the Super Eagles from the qualifying match and file an official complaint to CAF, and its ruling signed by its chairman, Osmani Kane, the disciplinary committee of the African football body awarded Super Eagles of Nigeria 3 points and 3 goals for the abandoned match, and the disciplinary body ruled that the Libyan Football Federation breached Article 31 of the African Cup of Nations regulation and Articles 82 and 151 of the CAF disciplinary code, and also ordered the Libyan Football Federation to pay a fine of $50,000 within 60 days of the notification of the decision. 2006 Ballon d'Or winner Fabian Cannavaro is in talks to become manager of Deportivo La Coruna. This was disclosed by football transfer expert Fabrizio Romano in a tweet via his X account on Sunday, and Cannavaro had helped Udinese to avoid relegation last season. The former Italian defender has coached the likes of Benevento, Al Nassr and Gattuso Evergreen in the past. And now entertainment news. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has released controversial cross-dresser Idris Okuneye, also known as Bobrisky, on bail. The embattled cross-dresser was stopped and removed from an Amsterdam-bound KLM flight at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos Thursday Thursday night while attempting to leave the country for London, the United Kingdom. He quickly alerted his followers on social media about the arrest, stating that he sustained injuries during the process and was subsequently flown to the headquarters of the EFCC in Abuja, where he was interrogated on his bribery allegations against the commission. In a voice note shared by a controversial social critic, Martin Jose, aka Very Dark Man, Bobrisky allegedly said he bribed the EFCC officials with He bribed the FCC officials with 15 million naira to drop money laundering charges against him, while the AFCC spokesperson Dele Oyewale confirmed Bobrisky's release but declined further comment. However, a source familiar with the matter said the cross-dresser denied bribing the AFCC in his confessional statement made at the commission's headquarters. May Edochie, the first wife of actor Yul Edochie, has revealed her reasons for rejecting many generous offers from prominent filmmakers in Nollywood. Speaking in a viral video on social media, May said she was able to say no despite the substantial pay because she is a master of all trades. According to her, I have received scripts, movie roles and mouth-watering offers for the past 2 years, but I rejected everything. Miami Beach has officially revoked singer Diddy key to the city amid his ongoing legal battle. The city court ties with the embattled American rapper following a series of charges and lawsuits filed against him. Miami Beach Mayor Stephen Maynard unanimously stripped Diddy of the honor during an in-person hearing last week, and this comes 9 years after he was awarded the key to the city. Diddy was honored with the ceremonial key in 2015 following his contributions to the music industry and his pivotal role in organizing the Revolt Music Conference held in Miami Beach. The 54-year-old is currently facing federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. CP warns against misinformation. EFCC arrests Accountant General. Tinubu swears in new ministers Monday. NDLEA uncovers 4.4 billion naira drug deal. Lightning kills 13 children in a refugee camp. Libya begins mass arrest of Nigerians. EFCC releases Bobrisky on bail. I am Wendy Aguma. Thank you for watching and good evening.